raises your energy and makes you feel, the only side effect is that you will feel really good.
I love that.
But thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you for having me.
The other day, of course, I stalk you on Instagram.
Oh, well, thank you. I stalk you too. It's mutual.
Yes, the Jess is just
Yes.
squared. But the other day, you were kind of going on this little tangent on your Instagram story about the importance of self-care. And that I feel like we live in a world where we tend to say yes to too many things or to too many people, but sometimes we just need to like slow down and actually say no, and you actually can get more done because you're like, self-care is just so important. And as a holistic, health and wellness coach, I kind of wanted to dive into like, how do you figure out what to say yes to and what to say no to?
Yeah, so I think the Instagram story that you're referring to was, I felt really called to post that, first of all. I don't do a lot of selfie storying. I'm starting to do a little bit more now.
And she's so beautiful. She should, and she has great things to say.
Well, thank you. I'm trying. It's uncomfortable at first, but I know that, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where change happens. So I feel like with Instagram stories, you can get a message out quickly, but that can also be pretty impactful, and it might be something that someone needs to hear in that very moment. And so that particular day, I felt really called to speak about the importance of saying no sometimes to certain obligations or things that maybe aren't necessary, so that you can give yourself a little bit more time, say yes to yourself instead. And the reason that I felt so called to talk about it at this point in my life, it's always been something that I've recognized, like self-care is extremely important to me. It's something that I work with all of my clients on making more time for. But, I feel like I've had a great balance with it. But then the last probably 2 months prior to this month, or even 3 months prior, I started finding myself getting really stressed and worked up, and not being as present in my relationships with my husband, with my sister. I was taking on what I felt like were things that I had to do. I was taking on big events and multiple big events. I had my one-on-one clients. I also was trying to have a social life, but that was kind of like put on the back burner. I was doing a lot of interviews, just filling every single day with about 10 to 12 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I just felt anxious all the time. And I don't know if you know that feeling of like, it's almost like up to your throat. Like you're just like, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
You're almost like suffocated by it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I felt that. And also I feel like when I'm in that state, it's like I'm trying to do too many things where I don't end up doing anything right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you spread yourself just too thin, and then you're like, oh my gosh, why did I just do it's like you're just losing your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's in your mind, you feel like you can't let go of any of it because all of it's important.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is that we don't want to let people down. We don't want to cancel an appointment because we've already told that person we would be there. Or we don't want to take a step back with a responsibility that we've already said we would do. I know as entrepreneurs, and also not entrepreneurs, people with corporate jobs, there's so many things that you want to do to take your career to the next level. And as an entrepreneur, a lot of that is collaborations. People saying like, oh, we should do this thing together. We should host an event together. Like, we should podcast together. We should do all of these different things. And I get so excited because every single one of those things I really, truly love.
Yeah.
But then mixed in with all of that is all the coffee dates. And then...
Or even just like the emails, the back and forth with what time should we meet, or even the prep time.
Yeah, and then you start to let the things fall that, really are important. You say, oh, well, I don't need to do that date night with my husband. Like, he'll always be there. I don't need to take that night that I originally planned for myself to light candles and listen to music and read my favorite book.
Right.
Like, I can meet this person instead.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, all those little pockets of time that really make you that better version of yourself and allow the people around you to also be the best versions of themselves starts to trickle away. And so I was feeling that heavy, and it was to the point where, and I think I shared this at an event that you came to, but my sister had this like really candid conversation with me, and she said, "Hey Jess, you are so good about practicing what you preach and about helping your clients make time for self-care and to set boundaries and all of those things. But right now you need to take that lesson because you're stressed and it's showing and you're not as fun." And I was like, oh, wow.
It's tough to hear, but
yeah.
I mean, that's a true sister right there.
Right, and it was really hard to swallow, and at first I was kind of defensive about it, but then I took a step back and it was like, no, I think that I've been getting away with this and I'm not, because my sister's recognizing it. And in this conversation, she said, you know, you're not speaking as nicely to your husband, Josh, and I noticed it, and he feels it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not fair. Just because he's always going to be around, I can't think that way. He may not. Right. I can't treat him that way and decide that his feelings don't matter and the time with him doesn't matter because everything else in my life is more important.
Right.
He's the one who's always been there for me.
Yeah.
He's supported me throughout my journey. Same with my sister.
Yeah.
So I think when I shared on Instagram, it was about what can you say no to say yes for yourself.
Right.
So.
Well, I think that you always take that anxiety or overwhelmed feeling out on the people you love the most.
Yes.
Which is why your sister was like, this is not the Jess that I know.
Mm-hmm.
But so when you did hear that, like, what is a good tool, or like, how did you kind of look back at your calendar or your schedule and be like, okay, what can I say no to, even though you kind of want to do it all?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the thing that I recommend everybody do, I think at the end of every week or at the top of a new week, I think Sunday might actually be a great time to do it, is to take out your calendar, whether it's on your phone or maybe you have a desktop calendar.
I'm like old school. I have like the day planner.
I do too. Yeah, I have a day planner, and then I also have one of those rip-offs where it has like each day of the week, which I also recommend having something that's physical and tangible, and then having something that's also on your phone.
Yeah.
And so look at those calendars and go through each day and ask yourself, like, do I absolutely have to get coffee with this friend? Will they understand if I move it to another week?
Right.
Chances are they will, because they're probably very busy too.
Yeah.
Do I have to go to this doctor's appointment that I scheduled? Is it like a routine checkup? And it probably could be pushed.
Right.
Like, I'm not dying. Like, I don't necessarily have to go.
Yeah.
Do I have to go to that third social get together?
Right.
Like, you know, what can give?
Yeah.
Like, if I really get real with myself and I take away like the pressures that I feel, you know, what really can give to make more room for myself. And then instead of scheduling something on top of it, just take that and exit out, and that's your time to do something that's going to calm you down, that's going to bring you back. Maybe it is, you know, spending an extra hour with your husband at night to cook, you know, a nice meal, or to just put the phones down and talk, or your roommate or whoever you live with.
Yeah.
Maybe it's lighting candles, taking a bath, reading a book, going for a sunset walk. And just, I think it's really that. It's like we put these expectations on ourselves, and so we have to be the ones to let go of them as well. Nobody else is going to do it for us, unless we just hope that that person's going to cancel on us.
Right.
You know?
And letting go is so important. And what I actually do is, I'm like a big to-do list person, and I love writing my to-do lists on sticky notes. So at the end of the day, I literally, whatever I didn't cross off, I write onto the next day. Yeah. And I just throw it away. And I'm just like, okay, there's something about like crinkling it up and like throwing it away. I'm just like, okay.
I love that.
New day. So I'm all about sticky notes, but also I will make a list of like 20 things that I need to do. And then I'll narrow it down to 5. And then I'll say like, okay, out of these 5, does each one of these fall, like I'm all about having core values. So like, does each one of these fit into my core values? Like, who Jess is at her core? And if not, I call it gets chucked.
Okay.
And then I'm a big believer on like setting an intention for the week. So like maybe on Sunday when you're looking at your calendar, set an intention. So like this week I want to, you know, maybe just impact one new person a day. or I want to, live outside my comfort zone, or like just kind of set an intention, a feeling for the week, and then just have 3 to-dos every day. And if you get those 3 to-dos, then you've won the day. And if not, then once again, you just write it on your sticky note the next day, and you just throw that away, and you leave it behind, and you let go.
Yeah, that's something that's very similar to what I do, and I love the core values part that you've added. I want to know more about that, because what I do is the night before, I decide what my morning routine is going to be the next day.
Yeah.
So what 5 things am I going to do in the morning? And that is very simple things. Like, it doesn't have to take a long time.
Right.
So it could be drink lemon water, number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, write in my journal.
Yep.
Number 3 is always like do my skin routine, because for me, I love to like wash my face in the morning and put on my oils and my lotion, and just, I feel like it sets the tone for a fresh start and a new day.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
and use like one of the little jade rollers and massage it, massage your face. And it's a nice way of getting intimate and connected with yourself, and to just really, start the day in a positive way.
I love that, because I want to hear actually about your whole morning routine.
Yeah.
So your number 1 is lemon water.
Oh, so I do lemon water and regular water. And then at that time, I'm journaling.
Okay.
And journaling is always a little different depending on, the style that I'm liking at that moment.
Okay.
And then number 3 is I'm reading. So I read 1 chapter. And that, I'm telling you, if you're somebody who has wanted to get into reading again, I mean, I got so out of the habit of reading. And after college even, it was like, I don't want to read any more books.
Yep.
But I love reading.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom tells stories of how I used to go to bed with my hand on a stack of books instead of around a doll, because I was so obsessed with reading.
That's so cute.
And her saying that was like, I need to bring that back, and I'm so interested. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I don't want to read everything online.
Right.
So I set the intention, if I just say 1 chapter,
Yep.
like that's all I have to do. And as a result, since doing this, since last year, I've read so many books.
Yeah.
And so the 1 chapter, and then the skin routine, and then I always get in some form of movement, whether it's a walk or a workout, and then after I come back is when I have breakfast. So that's kind of my morning
I love
routine.
that. Yeah, one of my morning routine steps, I also have a 5-step process.
Yeah.
But one of them is to unplug. And I would actually, normally I read or like do a quick little meditation, but I could even see myself just like unplugging and just kind of like really appreciating your skincare routine, or like, I don't know, having like an extra long shower and just letting your mind kind of, because I feel like sometimes I do my best thinking in the shower.
Have you heard of eucalyptus leaf showers?
No.
Okay, you would love this.
Ooh.
So speaking on the self-care topic,
Yeah.
and this could be something that you do for yourself when maybe you don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
So, you always hear take a bubble bath.
Yeah.
Very nice thought, love it, but realistically, drawing a bath, like putting the bubbles in, having all the stuff, like,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, but I probably take a bubble bath once every 2 months, if I'm being honest.
Right.
So eucalyptus leaves, you can buy them at grocery stores, not all grocery stores, but of course like the Erewhons of the world,
Right.
or
The bougie grocery
yes,
stores.
any florist would have it. You can
Okay.
even order them online. So you take eucalyptus leaves and you can wrap like a hairband around them, and then you hang it on the shower head, and then the water comes through the leaves and it smells really beautiful and calming. And then light a bunch of candles like on the outside of your shower. I turn the lights off and play I Love the French Cafe playlist. So I'll play that, and that's like shower time versus like having to make all the time for a bath, but it calms you down, it's me time, it relaxes you, and it's kind of like what you're saying.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Ooh, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it's great.
Another thing is just going along with the music thing.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in what you wake up to. So a lot of people will say like, keep your phone out of your bedroom. I'm sorry. My phone is next to my bed. It's not under my pillow, but it's next to my bed. I use it as my alarm. But I recently just changed the song I wake up to. So have you ever heard this song? I tried like Natural Waves or like bird chirping for a while. And I don't know. I just like this one song. Have you heard of the song I Am Light?
No.
I'm obsessed with it, and I like wake up to it now, and it's just like I always like try to ignite the light in people, And so waking up to like a really powerful song, I don't know, it's something that I added to my morning routine.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I think music is so powerful,
Yeah.
and that's something that every single day
Yeah.
I play music. And because I work from home, I always have to have
Yeah.
music on, and if it's silent, I just feel like I'm not as productive.
Right.
And you know, if it's a gray June gloom type day in LA, I love to play reggae because it like makes me feel like I'm
Yeah.
somewhere tropical.
Right.
You know, or if I'm like getting ready to go out for, like maybe I'm going out for drinks or I'm going out to meet friends and I'm super tired.
Yeah.
I play like hardcore hip hop because it like it pumps me up.
Bring up the
So
rapper girl in
hardcore.
me.
And it just makes such a difference. And my
Yeah.
husband, he laughs because he knows I cannot get ready without music.
Yeah.
There's something about it, and I think it's what you're saying. It boosts your mood, it makes you
Right.
feel happy, it evokes memories.
Yeah.
You can like place yourself somewhere when you hear a song.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
The other thing too is like, I don't know about you, but brain fatigue is a thing. I mean, my brain by the end of the day, I'm like, I can't even think of words. Like, don't ask me another question. I don't want to make any more decisions.
Yeah.
And so one thing I've noticed is that if you, the less decisions you actually have to make, the less brain fatigue you're going to experience. So I have tried to eliminate as many decisions in the morning, especially because the first 3 hours you wake up are when you're the most productive. And so like for me, I literally have the same breakfast, like it's like protein shake or eggs. Like I don't even think about it. I mean, that's why like Steve Jobs and a bunch of these really successful people, they have the same breakfast every day and they wear the same clothes every day because the less unimportant decisions they have to make, the more brain power they will have when they have to make important ones.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So that's why it's like I have a morning routine and I just wake up and I do it, and that includes like that's why planning the night before is so important because it's like less decisions you have to make in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you're saying is so true. I teach virtual group coaching courses, and one of my speakers, her name's Jen Cohen. She's a fitness coach, and I think it's mental performance coach. But she was the first person I heard say, you know, one of my biggest recommendations is to eat the same breakfast every day. She said, I've been eating the exact same breakfast for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And she was like, for me, that's just one thing out of the way. I don't have to think about it, and I'm so much more productive in the morning because of it.
Right.
I think that might get a little redundant for people.
Right.
So maybe if you do like a morning smoothie every day, you switch up the toppings, maybe the type of protein powder.
Yeah.
But the action is the same.
Right.
And I do think that if you can reduce the amount of decisions that you have to make and you simplify it, because one of my biggest messages is simplifying your life.
Yeah.
We overcomplicate everything.
Yeah.
So if you can make your morning and your decisions very simple, and you take the pressure off of yourself and you know exactly what you're doing, what makes you happy, how to set yourself up, and you have a toolbox, not literally, but of these tools that you can take out. You know, I'm tired. Okay, this is what I need to do to boost my energy. Like I'm not feeling motivated. Like what will help?
Yeah.
You know, I'm overwhelmed. Like what do I do when I feel overwhelmed?
Yeah.
And just these simple tools that you can literally pull out and say, hey, I need to use this today in order to make this day a yes day.
A yes day, a better day,
Yeah, a better day.
So what are some of like, how does someone simplify their life? Because that is so important.
Yeah. So I think just going back to the basics, I think is very important. If you can focus on the basics like sleep, and it's huge. Eating nutrient-dense, real foods that are going to nourish you and fuel you.
Yeah.
Having fun time, like making time for fun. I think as we get older, life gets way too serious. And I even catch myself, I'm like, when was the last time? And I actually ask clients this. When was the last time that you laughed so hard that you could pee your pants? Like, it's not that often when you're older. And it shouldn't be that way. And so like, how can you inject fun into your life? And then quality time with significant other, friends, family.
Even yourself.
Yourself, exactly, self-care and self-care. So those are kind of
Sleep, nutrients.
Yeah, so sleep, nutrients.
Play.
Yeah, fun time, quality time, and self-care.
I love that.
And so with those elements, you can look back, okay, sleep. What do I need to do to get a good night's sleep? And you start there and you kind of chip away. But I think with sleep, you know, one of my biggest tips is to train your circadian rhythm. So if you can get to bed relatively the same time every night,
Yeah.
and wake up at the same time,
Okay.
you're just at that time at night, you're really tired and you find yourself kind of nodding off.
Right.
And in the morning, you don't really need an alarm. And so it's hard at first, and it kind of has to become like
A habit.
it has to be, it's forming a habit.
Right.
So you decide, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to be so tired the first few days that I get up that much earlier. But because I'm so tired, if I can not nap and I can push myself through the day, I'm going to be really tired at night.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. Making sure that you're not eating, you know, on a regular basis too much sugar before bed, because that'll spike your